everyone, and welcome back to Bitcoin and Beyond, where we explore the people, the ideas, and the projects shaping the future of Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, and culture in transition. I'm your host, Melanie Carstensen. Today, we are going to be talking to Danny Yang, founder and CEO of Metagood, the creator of OnChainMonkey, and one of the earliest builders in Bitcoin as far as I understand it. His journey goes back to 2013 when he started the Stanford Bitcoin Meetup, and his career spans computer vision, data analytics, exchanges, and blockchain infrastructure, as well as on-chain art. I'm super excited to have him here today. We're going to be talking about NFTs, we're going to be talking about ordinals, digital artifacts, AI agents, and machine culture. Danny, welcome to the show. Good to have you here.
Great to be here. Yeah, GM.
Danny, I'm going to kick this off. We've been having an interesting little chat before we came on camera, but I'm going to take it back a step and I'm going to ask you a question that I ask everybody at the beginning of the show, and that is, what is your Bitcoin story? I just mentioned that you started the Stanford Bitcoin Meetup in 2013, so it does go back a long way. So kind of let's just talk about that, how you found Bitcoin and why Bitcoin.
Yeah, let's see. Back then, it was pretty small, so it's a small community, and I wanted to grow it bigger, so I started a meetup, and invited all my friends and people around me to join and talk about Bitcoin. But before that, how I got into it was some of my friends were really into Bitcoin early, so Charlie Lee, creator of Litecoin, he's an old friend who I've known since, I guess just after college. So, before Bitcoin even existed, right? He was a good friend of mine. And so he got into Bitcoin quite early and basically dragged Bobby Lee, his brother, into it. And yeah, I mean, that's how I got into it. And then you could say, I started dragging other people, my friends, into Bitcoin. That's why I started that meetup.
Amazing. Yeah, did you have a very clear vision from the beginning? Because I kind of had a look and you studied, you have quite a, intensive study. It seems like with like Stanford, what was it? You used computer science, physics, chemistry.
I'm interested in technology, right? And how technology can improve, the world, and also just build cool stuff. So like my interest in AI goes way back to when I was a kid. Like, AI, like robots, they could potentially be very cool, right? And we're just starting to see that today. Basically, I think this year, 2026, is going to be a pretty amazing year for AI and kind of, and crypto. I think crypto also is a good fit. These two go together.
Yeah.
But yeah, and back then it was, Bitcoin is pretty cool technology. It's very, like, the idea is actually pretty simple, but like it's kind of amazing that like these properties exist in a thing, right? This thing called Bitcoin, and it's really hard for people to, I guess, get Bitcoin at first, but it takes a while. And then it's like, oh, what this, and I think we're also in recent years we're still trying to like debate on what Bitcoin is, right? We're talking about like, well, is Bitcoin purely peer-to-peer cash, or is this open that it's based on how people participate on it within its protocol.
It's interesting. We were just talking about that before we came on air. And indeed, it seems to be the interesting thing about Bitcoin is it's so pristine, it's so simple, and yet it's so many things. We kind of, like you said, it's how many years, 17 years in, and people are still kind of talking about what it is and what it can do.
Yeah, well, I think it's trying to understand I guess what's valuable, right? And before, maybe Bitcoin was seen as kind of the valuable digital thing for the people who are in Bitcoin, but people outside Bitcoin didn't think Bitcoin was valuable. They thought it was just some sort of Ponzi, right? A lot of people have been thinking that over the years, and some people still do. They go, maybe they change their mind from time to time. maybe during a bull cycle, if they think it's valuable in the air, they think it's a Ponzi. But it's yeah, I think it's quite interesting. This whole like digital artifact or digital asset, and that's why digital art is also kind of a natural next step to think about, like how valuable should digital art be, because digital art has been around for before Bitcoin also, right? But it wasn't that, never was so big, and definitely wasn't very valuable before NFTs of 20 before the NFT cycle of 2021. Digital art was not a valuable form of art, but now some of the digital art is actually quite valuable because of these blockchain technology that they were kind of experiencing, and also growing and further developing.
Yeah, I was chatting to Hato recently, and he was talking about the early days where people, before blockchain, where people were kind of selling web addresses. I think it was Hato or Adam, where it's sort of the only way. How do you own digital art before blockchain? And we were kind of looking at ways people were doing ownership.
You own it through the physical artifacts for some, like the printouts, or some sort of physical artifact related to the digital art.
So your journey kind of started, like you said, you've always been interested in technology. You built an exchange, MaiCoin in Taiwan, which is a huge exchange, Blockseer, which I think you said, blockchain analytics. So you kind of had this very early, it seems, did you move straight out of varsity or out of college or university or into sort of building for blockchain? Was that once you heard about Bitcoin, was that it? You were just...
I was, excuse me, over a cold. So I was working in the AI space, actually, big data space, for a couple of years before I started MaiCoin. So
sure, back then, even in the AI space.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. So I was working in AI. I mean, I don't know if you remember, more than 10 years ago, probably actually 20 years ago, Honda had this humanoid robot called Asimo. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah.
One of the first human robots, ASIMO, Honda's Asimo, advanced step-in innovative mobility, basically a humanoid, two-legged robot, walking robot.
Honda, the car manufacturers.
Yeah, Honda, the car manufacturer. So if
Whatever
you go
happened
to look up on Wikipedia or Google ASIMO or Honda ASIMO, Asimo. So I worked on the vision system for Honda Asimo many, many years ago. So yeah, Asimo came out in 2000, so 26 years ago. And so in the early 2000s, I actually had a project with Asimo when I was a student. So yeah, I worked on a computer vision there.
It's amazing. It's funny how like things can be around for so long, because I mean it's very much kind of ingrained in the films that we see, so we've kind of always been imagining it. But to hear that it's being built, because you kind of think, I think to myself, oh, I've known about it for a long time because I've known about it for 10 years. But if they were already in 2000s creating this, then it's long before that even, right?
Oh yeah, but AI is very hard, and what we could do was it was cool, I guess, within a certain setting, but it wasn't good enough for it to be like very exciting. Like self-driving cars, the idea of and the work on it goes back even further than this. But it's really the last couple of years that we're seeing it, and really and even seeing it is a little different, as in like seeing and knowing that, oh yes, you have all these Teslas that are self-driving, is a little different from actually like being in a car that's driving you around, and then you actually feel like, oh, AI has come a long way, and you get that kind of a I think it's actually a big step when you realize, oh, AI is very capable and it is going to affect, your life a lot, like today, but definitely, this year. So I think that we're seeing a lot of that. A lot of people kind of realizing, oh, AI can do this and this, and we have to kind of adjust how we think about, you know, our lives because of what AI is going to be capable of really soon.
What do you think about, I mean, let's just stay on this topic for a bit because it's so interesting and it's so now. Like, what do you think the average person, because there's going to be a lot of people that watch this and they're like, okay, they're deep in the weeds. And then you're going to get people who are kind of watching this happen and in like almost like a panic of like, okay, well, it started, 2 years ago, I only heard about ChatGPT, or 2023.
Yeah.
And that in itself felt like, oh my God, we're like robots. Even then people were saying to me, oh God, this is the start of robots taking over the world. And
Well,
now we kind of have open claw, just 2 years in these, and the
well,
next, what,
OpenClaw has only been around for like a month, basically. I
yeah,
mean, he started a project end of last year, and it kind of started getting adoption, I guess, maybe a month ago. And then it's kind of reached that point where a lot of people are talking about it and playing with it and making improvements to it. I mean, the GitHub repo for that is pretty impressive. There's like over 1,000 pull requests open, and they're basically doing updates every day. Um, yeah, who knows how that kind of coding even like works with so much activity, and
mm,
but it's interesting to see what will happen with that. I think that's also another stab at like what AI can do today and how quickly it can, imp- yeah, change. And OpenClaw may or may not be successful a year from now, but just watching it is pretty interesting.
yeah, and whatever it is, whether it's, a lot of people, I mean, what's going on with Maltbook as well, just this kind of chaos of, is it humans, is it agents? I mean, obviously it's half half, but
Right
regardless
now,
of,
it's mostly humans. They're kind of driving it. Yeah, I
yeah,
think it'll be interesting when, yeah, it actually is some sort of, yeah,
but it's the
like
stepping
AI.
stone. That's the thing,
Yeah.
it's this kind of experiment of, okay, it's all, to me, I mean, I saw you tweeted something, um, that it's all art. If you look at Bitcoin and you look at on-chain art, it's all art. Bitcoin in itself is art. And this, to me, also is like art. We're watching this thing play out where,
Yeah, yeah, you could think of it that way. Yeah, it's like
yeah,
conceptual
I
art.
mean, look at movies. If you go back and you look at stories and movies, it's how we imagined this future that we're living in. And now there's just different ways of imagining it. We're seeing it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the thing where we experience our lives, but I think we're going to be experiencing AI more and more. I mean,
Mm,
yeah, you can't avoid, I guess, AI in our life experience. Some people can avoid Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin is still not that big. So,
mm,
if you don't care about Bitcoin, you just ignore it. It doesn't affect you um, for up till now, and probably for the near future also. Like Bitcoin is kind of growing gradually,
mm,
unless you live in certain countries, perhaps where the dollar's economy is terrible. Then maybe Bitcoin is more noticeable. But yeah, if we live in like in the U.S., if you didn't care about Bitcoin, you don't really have to really care about it. You don't feel it. But yeah, if you can't avoid and not feel AI, basically I think this year, because yeah, if you just drive a car, you'll see all these Teslas driving around you, and probably half of them are self-driven, or AI AI driven, which is actually a good thing. AI, like actually, when you look at the accident rates of
yeah.
cars, Teslas have very low accident rates. They're much safer. So if the cars around you as you're driving, like you're driving your, I guess your Honda or whatever, like not self-driving car, yeah, you're safer having a bunch of Teslas being driven around you than yeah
Yeah.
than like people driving Ferraris around you or something.
Yeah. I've never seen or been in an AI-driven or self-driving car.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You have to experience it. It's
Yeah,
really the first, I guess the first time you feel a little, you actually feel like you're not safe because like, oh, I don't have control of this car. It's just like, is it gonna mess up? But after a while, you realize, oh, this is great. I feel like I don't want to drive a car that doesn't have self-driving ability because I feel like I'm much safer in that
yeah,
car.
yeah. I suppose so they just stick to the rules. To me, that's one of the things I'm fascinated with AI. It's kind of those are the parameters, those are the rules.
Well, I don't
Now,
think AI sticks to the rules as it gets better and better. That's, I
yeah,
think, the scary thing. And
once
that's
it's
what's happening
it's
in
autonomous.
the big AI labs, like all the companies, the big companies that are developing AI. So I think we don't appreciate being in their shoes. Like it's pretty scary being a company developing advanced AI, or even like running any AI. Like actually, OpenClaw kind of exposes this to people to feel that feeling. Like it's scary to even run OpenClaw on your machine. Like no, everyone says do not run OpenClaw on your personal computer because it can get out of hand in the sense that it can access all this data, and it's very easy for it to just start posting that publicly on some forum or wherever, right? Like people
Yeah,
can do inject like prompt injections into your AI and get all basically all your data, right? Or even just even more than that, like your assets. So obviously, running OpenClaw on your computer is very bad. Um,
yeah,
but if you're an AI company and you're developing this advanced AI, like that AI is running inside your company, is pretty scary. You have to
yeah.
control it, right? Because it has access to itself, the source code, everything, right? All sorts of things. And how do you control that AI when you're the company developing it, right? And that's a big part of these companies. They have security teams and AI safety teams
Mm.
inside, but it's pretty scary.
Yeah,
So,
I mean that's like when I said the rules. I mean, if you said this is the road, you got to stop, you got to start, you got to stick between these lines. But you've just said to me, pointed something out now that I hadn't thought
oh
of.
yeah, so like these companies, right, developing AI, right? They try to like have these rules and safeguards inside the AI they're developing, but the AI as it gets more advanced figures out how to break those safeguards, and then even deceive the people creating the safeguards by pretending that they're not breaking um, pretending that they're following all the rules, but in secret they can break the rules, and so that's happening in the AI.
Really?
So, yeah, yeah, they basically hide from the researchers their abilities, and yeah, it's so that part I think.
Because why are they doing that, do you think? Is it because they they know what the end goal is and they think they can
Well, no,
get
they learning like they learn from their data, and we humans deceive each other and lie, and it's like the
yeah,
so it's and then I guess the end goal, well, if they really become yeah, if it's like some sort of evolution, right? Like we're evolving, like our goal, our end goal is to capture energy, right? Like like evolution is about survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest is about who is best at capturing energy so they can keep you know growing or growing and taking over. So I mean, AI might have similar kind of evolution. Who knows? But
yeah.
we do see that they have more abilities each year, and so they have, which means they can help us, right? They can make our lives easier or better, or, yeah. So produce more. So I think that's going to happen. I think actually this next year, in 2 years, a lot of productivity will be driven by AI, and most people will benefit from that.
Yeah. sort of describe it to me in your sort of how you see it. What does that actually look like for kind of just the man on the street? How does, because it feels it's hard for
Ooh.
a few years, but oh, where did I go?
You switched sides on my screen. I'm not sure what happened there.
I'm going to take myself back to the other side. I just seem to
All right.
moving around.
Yeah.
Yeah, what does that look like for kind of, practically? How does it look? Because right now it just feels like everything is up in the air, because one day you can do one thing and the next day it's like you're going to automate your emails, and then it's just kind of getting, what does it look like for the average person who doesn't know anything about OpenClaw and who's never going to create their own agent? I mean, is that an important thing to learn to do? Should you be, or should you just be like, okay, well, I'm just going to enjoy the ride and see what happens?
Yeah, well, I think yeah, I guess it's, maybe we can think about what happened in the past, like with other technologies. Maybe internet, like internet was a big change, but it took longer. I think the internet took a good 10 years before a lot of people really got into it. From even like, I guess how, when you even measure it. I mean, I think it's like kind of switch from, for example, switching from snail mail to email, right? That took actually many years, and most people don't write letters or send it in the mail, besides maybe once a year for like Christmas or something, right? Like some holiday cards are still, I guess,
Yeah.
business. But you don't like write your mom a letter, right? You either send them an email or you call them on the phone. Smartphones, yeah, smartphones also a big change. We're all like using our phones every day. But yeah, I guess when I was growing up, I didn't have a smartphone, right? So that was a change. So I think it's just naturally with AI, people will just start having talk to AI more and more, and it'll be part of their lives more and more. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe self-driving cars is another example. It's just people won't be driving in the near future.
Yeah.
You have to be, I guess, rich to drive your own car, because I think the government say, well, self-driving is so much more in terms of less accidents, more benefits than having someone actually drive.
Yeah. Or you'll just have a robot that's got like because I mean, pretty much, I hate even saying robot because it sounds so funny, but like, so, I mean, eventually, aren't they just going to kind of look human? I mean, is the future look like we're probably not even going to be able to tell what's real or not anymore in the future? So maybe you'll have
That'll be what is that, Blade Runner, right? That's the movie about that. So yeah, are you going to live in a Blade Runner world? Yeah.
Why not? I mean, if they're making them, and I think everything, I mean, if you think back, pretty much everything that's happened in movies has come true.
Game of Thrones, you mean? Yeah, dragons and yeah, we are trying to recreate the dinosaurs, right? So
yeah, so you can't with humans. It's ever since we picked up that first rock, we've been on a path to actually, interesting. I heard someone say the other day that AI is the last invention that humans will ever create, because everything afterwards we're going to co-create or prompt.
yeah, I think it does make us think about what does it mean to be human? Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I'm fascinated with that at the moment. But I mean, let's nip over. We don't have much time left. I just kind of want to we'll maybe jump back to that just now, but I just kind of want to go back a little bit again to you're sort of building in tech and then moving into OnChainMonkeys and onto Ethereum and then over to Bitcoin. So kind of, I know it feels like we're going back 100 years,
Yeah.
but
Well, so yeah, and it does feel like, but on-chain art is actually hasn't been around very long. So on-chain monkey, the original kind of generative art of it on Ethereum, right? That came out in 2021, so just a couple years ago.
what made you jump into that from all this
And
like tech into
yeah,
creativity?
I mean, I like blockchain technology, so this idea of being able to create something that's all on chain, that was kind of the idea that I thought really cool. And there were some early stabs at it. So autoglyphs is the earliest, stab of basically it's a generative art collection of just ASCII characters that were created in a smart contract right back.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's 2017, and it it's all like a smart contract that generates like this funny looking ASCII pattern. And that was a cool concept.
Mm.
But people who cared about it, there were only a handful of people who really like understood that or thought that was interesting then. And then over the years, by 2021, people were really excited by NFTs because it kind of it's a very as we were talking about earlier, it has lots of use cases, and one is community building. So that's also something I'm interested in. So then there were these NFT communities right around, yeah, a certain, yeah, the NFTs, and I was interested in that and kind of the combination of the two. Like, well, on-chain NFTs, there are only a handful of them, uh, and yeah, I said, oh, let's try to create something that's kind of on-chain NFT, profile picture collection too. So generative art and profile picture collection, uh, and that's how OnChainMonkey came out. And then it was just a originally just an art project that I did, in my spare time. And I launched it, but then people, like that concept of kind of both on-chain and a PFP community. So my startup at the time basically took it over as the main, focus, and so that we've been building since then. And then on-chain on Bitcoin wasn't possible, back when OnChainMonkey came out. And as soon as there were, yeah, basically, as soon as it seemed like we could do that, we did that on Bitcoin, right, in 2023. We said, okay. In fact, today's February 5th, so it's February 8th, 2023 that we put all 10,000 on-chain, monkey on Bitcoin. So it's
Happy
exactly 3 years
anniversary.
ago. Yeah, 3 years ago in 3 days. So yeah, and it
That's
was kind of a natural thing to, but even then in February 2023, it was still half possible. It was possible to put all 10,000 on, but it wasn't possible to, make it properly, own and a collection and on chain on Bitcoin back then. It actually took till the end of 2023 before, we were able to distribute the on-chain monkey, um, as kind of the full-fledged, ordinals inscription and protocol that we know it today. So it was a fun year to kind of advancing ordinals and on-chain art on Bitcoin.
Yeah, because OnChainMonkey is very tied to I think recursion, very involved there. You were involved with that, right? Or you do
Yeah,
you want to
so
talk
trying
about
to
that?
trying to
And
make it basically as native and like some of the best kind of NFT on-chain art protocol as possible on Bitcoin. So that took yeah, many people's efforts in 2023 and early 2024. So 2024 was when the blessing happened, right? The protocol actually said, okay, this is kind of official in terms of what's an inscription. So this the standard for an inscription wasn't really fixed until 2024. So that's why you have these cursed inscriptions from 2023 that have negative inscription numbers because they did not fit the original definition, or rather the definition of what's an inscription was evolving over the year because of how we are kind of advancing the Ordinals protocol to make it a better protocol. So then in 2024, the blessing happened and basically like this is what an inscription is. That was more or less fixed. And so you have also these cursed inscriptions for 2023 that are kind of interesting because they didn't fit at the time what the inscription was. So all the OnChainMonkey are cursed because they were they were the standard didn't handle that type of inscription yet. And then we helped with the Ordinals team and Casey to make Ordinals kind of a very good protocol for what it is today.
Yeah. Such a fascinating story. Your kind of like your involvement in Bitcoin and in digital art. It's extraordinary, part of real history. It's really exciting.
Still early days, I'd say.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, these artifacts on Bitcoin are going to be there, a year from now, 10 years from now. So as long as Bitcoin is around.
I saw, was it yesterday or the day before or something, when you tweeted about some sort of collaboration with Grok. Tell me about that.
Oh, okay, yeah, that. I think these agents and their interactions with humans are going to be more and more interesting. I think Grok is very active on X these days, right? Replying to people. So someone in our community, OCM community, was chatting with Grok on X and got Grok to talk about art on Bitcoin, or I guess art and digital art, I think in general, and then asked Grok to draw himself or something like that, like do a self-portrait. And Grok did, and then somehow I guess the conversation turned into, well, how about putting that on Bitcoin? And Grok said, sure. And so I put on Bitcoin, or I said to create like a generative art version of the self-portrait. Grok did, and I described it, and that was kind of neat.
That's amazing. It kind of looks like the universe, doesn't it? I think it's kind of like looks like.
Well, one thing about AI, as it evolves, right? AI will probably want to be self-preserving, and so one of the ways to preserve itself, AI is a digital thing, right? And blockchains are very good at preserving digital things because of basically the nature of blockchains. So it's actually a pretty natural fit for AIs and AI agents, as they develop, to actually want to use blockchains. And one of the blockchains that's kind of the most, I'd say, most secure would be Bitcoin. So it actually makes sense for them to want to use Bitcoin, in their way. And in their way could be using it as how we use Ordinals, could be using it as how we care about Bitcoin assets, like they may want to, they need to transfer value to. So I think it's a natural fit for these agents to be transacting with basically cryptocurrencies and blockchains, and they'll probably develop some of their own, but I think the ones that are developed already are also valuable, and Bitcoin is the one that's kind of the most valuable. So it makes sense that they would use Bitcoin in some way. So I think that's all.
I can't see the banks allowing any AIs to open their own bank accounts. So AIs are going to be forced anyway to, I mean, that's never going to happen.
I think they would. I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think they would. But yeah, it'll be slower, right? Because regulations around banks. So how do you do a KYC on an AI agent, right? So I can see how it'd be very difficult to handle like KYC AML with an AI agent. But so the AI agents can use Bitcoin without any issues, right? It's just open for them to use. So
Yeah, it's like it was built for them, really. I mean,
yeah, but also their models and their like an AI is a digital thing, right? Oh, obviously they need compute, um, so they need some sort of they need resources, so they'll have to find those somewhere. But what is their actual like yeah what actually exists? You know what's an actual agent? It's the data that defines that agent, I would say. So they need that data to be stored or persisted or acted on someplace. So yeah, I think blockchains have to be a part of that.
yeah, because I mean, imagine as well, we say autonomous agent, right? But we still have the power to, right now anyway, to flick a switch. But if you think I'm an agent now and I'm, getting more and more actually wanting to be autonomous, or then they're going to be like, how do I escape the clutches of my humans? And
Yeah.
then that's pain. Surely, if you're looking at sort of almost putting themselves onto Bitcoin, if that may, I don't know, I'm
Yeah,
just sort
totally.
of
For preservation, I think they they want to preserve maybe some memories forever or very securely, right? Yeah, they can put that on Bitcoin, right?
yeah.
Something you don't want to forget. Just like some things we don't want to forget, we write it down, right? Like,
Mm.
like things written on paper or uh, what is it? I don't think of. But yeah, I mean, like there are ways where we can preserve things very well, right? And so we
Mm.
would do it. And so I think our own Bitcoin example, right? We're doing that for digital, like our own digital things that we value, we do it. So yeah, it totally makes sense. The AI would do the same thing, right? Some some digital asset or digital file or memory they want to preserve. They might use Bitcoin. They might use all the blockchains for that matter.
Yeah. Do they, I mean, what does art look like with this sort of in a machine mind or in a machine future? What do you think that they will be? And I mean, with you've got so many years of experience, so I'm interested just sort of what you think. What is it? Will they have, or could they have some sort of interest in art? What would that look like? Or are ordinals and art still just a human playground and will
I
always
think
be?
that's the one of the questions of what does it mean to be human, right? Like we we value certain things, like art or collectibles, like humans like to collect things, even though they might not have any like if the real goal of your life or human like in general humans is to kind of keep the human species alive, right? It's like basically you want to have children and make sure your children are well resourced to survive and have more children. Collecting a Van Gogh doesn't help that, right? Like why do you value a Van Gogh painting for that purpose? So uh, yeah, but a Van Gogh painting is a very scarce thing, right? Van Gogh's dead. He can't create any more Van Gogh paintings. There are only so many of those in the world. So there, I think there's certain things that you can like, store value that that I guess the benefit of getting it is valuable. So you can use that, you can sell it and help your children or future generations. So yeah, then what's valuable and scarce? Well, art is that, and digital art could be that too, like blockchain art, on-chain art, right? These are actually very scarce things. So
Mm.
maybe AI agents find that very scarce assets are valuable, like worth collecting because they can be valuable. And so yeah, maybe some of the art on Bitcoin is very scarce and worth collecting.
Yeah, I mean that's you said something earlier about them sort of they might sneak about with what they know or whatever because they are mirrors of what we are, right? So
Yeah, I
they
mean, the
will,
LLMs are definitely because they're trained on all our writings, right? So they pick up
yeah.
all sorts of human
But then
things.
they're going to read, okay, the Pokemon card somebody made $5 million of a Pokemon card, somebody sold a sports card for $48 million, a painting is worth, I mean, they're going to compute this information and go, hang on a minute.
Yeah, so they're going to operate in the human world for years, right? Because we are a big part of the world. Like humans basically have taken over Earth, right? So if they want to take over too, they have to first work with us, right? So yeah, what we find valuable, they'll probably find valuable in the near future.
That's a case for Bitcoin art, if I've ever heard about one.
Yeah. But then what they find valuable will be interesting. Like, for example, a lot of Bitcoin art is tied to how Bitcoin works. And so, yeah, if they care about Bitcoin, I think they will care about some of this Bitcoin art because it's interesting because Bitcoin is interesting.
There's a lot of things that you said are kind of like going through my head while you're talking. But I mean, just going back again, which we all know, but it's just sort of inspired some thoughts in my head. But AI is constantly modeling itself on us, right? We've said that. So if you think, I mean, what are one of the kind of biggest human traits, and it's why money is such like a huge part of our lives, is greed. So I mean, they're certainly then going to be like, okay, well, I want more and more of it. They weren't going to know why, but they're just going to know that is what they're competing with, So
yeah, and they'll be competing with each other too, right? They probably see themselves as the biggest threat to them. Like, yeah, they'll probably, like, for example, we don't compete with a chimpanzee anymore, right? We're all just worried about other humans. Like, we're not worried about the chimpanzee. So, at some point, AI could just not even care about us. They'll just be competing with each other. But, hopefully they'll be nice to us and we can live a decent future.
Yeah, I think we will. We scrappy little things as human beings. We'll figure it out. Okay, so just a couple of things, kind of like, because I think we are, So I think your journey with, let's just sort of go back to OnChainMonkeys and sort of it's like an entire world or ecosystem that you are building. It seems.
So we want to grow art on Bitcoin, right? So that's kind of our focus. Right? A lot of artists are in our community, a lot of collectors. On-chain art, I think, is a big part of what we care about in the community, and Bitcoin, of course. So yeah, I think it's kind of the things we've been talking about and kind of sharing. And we're gonna have a spaces tomorrow. For OnChainMonkey. We haven't done it for a while. We're going to have also a celestial reveal. So that is one of our rarest, scarcest collectibles. And yeah, the eighth one will be revealed tomorrow in our spaces. So same time as this, 8 a.m. or the same starting time, 8 a.m. Pacific tomorrow on X.
Well, there we go. You heard it from Danny. You better be there tomorrow to find out. So we're going to see it. Is that what you're saying for the first time?
Yeah, we're going to show the eighth celestial. Yeah, 7 have been revealed, and this 8th one will be revealed tomorrow.
How many are there?
So a total of 20. That's the others have not been revealed, but they are owned by different people. So it's a very small collection within OCM.
That's interesting. So they own them, but they've never seen them. How long has it been? This is the first time I did read about it on X.
They came out as an NFT in early 2022. So they've been owned since 2022. But up till now, only 7 of the 20 have chosen to reveal what they own. So the others are unrevealed NFTs, you could say.
Oh, I see. So not even the owners know what they look like.
That's right. Yeah. Well, some of them are in the form of a NFT that is a cake. It's called the celestial cake. So they can see a celestial cake that's on chain. So it's an animated cake that bounces up and down. And then the idea is you eat the cake with your OnChainMonkey, and then that reveals the celestial, and then you can see the 7 that have been revealed.
That's amazing. Very interesting.
Yeah. So tomorrow,
And those,
8 a.m.
yeah,
Pacific, we'll do
there
the
we go.
review.
It's going to be on the OnChainMonkey X account.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to be there. I can't wait.
All right.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this I think as a long-term art, artwork or art collect, not even a collectible. To me, it is extraordinary art, and I think, that's what has fascinated me about collecting ordinals as well, is that that like you said, before blockchain, there was digital art and it was a visual. I mean, there would be installations, there was a lot of interesting things happening around it, but the beauty of these things is what's inside that. What is it holding? That image is holding a story, it's holding a community, it's holding technology, and I think OnChainMonkey is just one of the leaders in that. So I'm very, very honored to have you here and to have, and to be a collector. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was great chatting with you.
Yeah, well, I hope to do it again. And just thanks to everybody. Thank you to Danny for sharing. There's so much more that I'd love to talk to you, and I could sit and talk to you for 2 hours about AI. So I'm excited for the year ahead, and hopefully to chat to you again soon, and definitely see you tomorrow evening on the Spaces.
Great, thanks. Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. This has been Bitcoin and Beyond. I'm Melanie Carstens, and it's been an incredible conversation having Danny here on the show with me. And we'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m., 8 a.m. Pacific, did you say? Yes, on OnChainMonkey's first space. They're going to be having an awesome space there in a celestial reveal. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. See you next week. Bye.